So the next thing that we are going to look at is now that we have seen the approaches and how we have integrated those approaches, and as well as these are the features. The next thing is the types and characteristic of morphemes. We're going to look at inflectional bound morphemes as well as derivational bound morphemes. We are going to see the features of derivational bound morphemes. We are also going to check at affixation, and we are also going to look at morpheme and other grammatical units. These include words. Yes, after word we go to what? To groups. Then after group we go to clauses, and then we go to the last one is a sentence. They say that the sentence is the largest grammatical unit. First we begin with the word, and then we go to group, then we go to clause, then the last one is what? Is a sentence. So let us see the types and characteristics of morphemes. Morphemes are elements which constitutes a word, are usually defined as the smallest grammatical unit. This one we already saw in topic 1. They are also said to be so small that their constituents are referred to as elements, but put as linguistic elements. So the first morpheme the first type that we are going to focus on is the free morphemes. Words are made up of morphemes, either free or bound. The free morphemes is the core part which usually sits anywhere within a word on its own, just as the word sounds. It's free, so it is like independent, or it just can stand on its own. It can function as an independent word. That is, a word can stand on its own because it carries meaning. So free morphemes, they carry meaning on it, so they can stand on their own. The following words are free morpheme. For example, school, church, boy, girl, teach, courage, examine. Like they are free, or they have a meaning, or rather we can say they are independent. Another name for free morpheme is a base, root, or stem. Yeah, as the base or core, it can accept other elements either before it or after it. But whether the free morpheme or base or core is attached to another element or not, it can stand on its own. It is a meaning carrying unit. Some linguistics also refer to free morpheme as a full morpheme. Most free morphemes are content or lexical words. Then the next type of morpheme is the bound morpheme. A bound morpheme is that morpheme that cannot stand on it or occur as an independent word. So it cannot stand on its own, unlike the free morpheme. It has to be attached to a free morpheme or word so that it have a clear meaning. Examples of bound morphemes are, for example, these suffixes meant, en, ing, ed, full, miss, anti, less. These are suffixes. They are the bound morphemes. They can, or rather, they don't have a meaning unless they are attached to a free morpheme. In the following free morphemes, for example, in the words government, encouragement, dancing, accepted, happiness, hopeless, we can see that very clearly. So, for example, in the word government, we have govern, that is a free morpheme, and then that suffix there, ment, that one is a bound morpheme. Another name for bound morpheme is empty morphemes. They can also be called grammatical indicators because they have the tendency to affect grammar. For example, this sentence, the lecturer glad praised God. The omission of a suffix ly in the word glad renders the sentence ungrammatical. Grammatically, this sentence should read as the lecturer gladly praised God. Most bound morphemes are grammatical, all functional elements in language. Let us see these subcategories of bound morphemes. This is inflectional and derivational bound morphemes. The inflectional bound morphemes, these bound morphemes, or before we begin with the inflection, bound morphemes are of two types. Some bound morphemes have the ability to change word class, or form or generate new words, while others only inflect the words they are added to. A major division in morpheme is free and bound. A free morpheme has been referred to as an independent word. The bound morpheme is of two types, inflectional and derivation. An inflection morpheme, which is a type of bound morpheme, is defined by linguistics as a mere grammatical indicator or marker. An inflectional morpheme cannot generate or create new word, nor can it affect the grammatical class of a word. An inflectional morpheme plays three grammatical roles in English. Number one, it can indicate tense. Tense relates to a verb. It then means that to indicate tense, it affects the verb. A verb is affected in the following ways. Come, when we add the suffix s, come, when we add ing, walk, when we add s, walk, when we add ing, walk, when we add ed, for example, write, when we add ing, write, when we add en. We see that there are those words. For example, comes, when you add s, becomes comes. Come plus ing, coming. Walk plus s, walks. Walk plus ed, walked. Write plus ing, writing. Okay. Write, when we add en, written. These this suffixes is the third person singular marker. Ed is the past. This suffix ed is the past tense marker, while ing is the continuous tense marker. Then another grammatical role of inflection or morpheme, we have said number one is to indicate tense. For example, we have said s does what? S is a singular marker. We said ed is the past tense, and ing is a continuous tense. And then the second thing is that it can also indicate number plurality, and plurality deals with nouns, and nouns are affected by number. Nouns are subdivided into singular and plural. Plural nouns are indicated with s. Thus, for example, when we have boy, when we add s, become boys. School, when we add s, become schools. Table, when we add s, become tables. The s marker above is a plural marker, and it is an additive morpheme. Therefore, it indicates that morpheme carrying it is more than more than one. So the S in boys, the S in schools, S in tables is a plural marker. Are we together? Then the third one is that inflection or morpheme has a grammatical role of indicating comparison. For example, adjectives are used to compare, right? So this third part affects adjectives. Adjectives have comparative or does comparison for two people. In superlative, does comparison for more than two people. For example, when we have fat, when we add er becomes fatter. When we add es become fattest. When we have the word fast, if we add this suffix er, it becomes what? Faster. And when we add est becomes fastest. When we have these suffixes er and est, morphemes are used to indicate comparative and superlative forms of the adjective fat and fast above. Are we together? Then let us now go to derivational bound morpheme. This we said it falls under the bound morpheme. So a derivational morpheme, which is called a derived morpheme, is a type of bound morpheme which generates or creates new words by either changing the class of word or forming new words. This change in word class caused by addition of a derivational bound morpheme is not restricted to a particular class of word. It affects all classes of words. This transformation does not, however, affect the lexical meaning of the base form of the free morpheme. That is, the lexical meanings of the core or base of free morphemes, they remain unchanged. These examples are common in English. Let us now see examples here. The first example is noun. We can derive noun from verb word classes. For example, we have derivation suffix age. Then we have this verb break. It becomes breakage. When we have all, then we have the verb revive. It forms which noun? Revival. Are we together? When we have this suffix ation, then we have the verb explore. It becomes exploration. When we have the suffix ment, then we have the verb govern. Which word will it be formed? The government. When we have e, and then we have the verb pay, which word will be formed? Pay. When we have aunt, and then we have the verb inform, it becomes informant. Then let us say we can also derive adjectives from nouns. For example, consider these suffix these nouns. When we have the word full, then we have care. Which word will be formed? Careful. When you have less, from the word fruit, which word will be formed? Fruitless. We have n, and then we have the word the noun Nigeria. We have Nigerian. Then able. Then we have love as the noun. Which adjective will be formed? Lovable. We have suffix ly in friend, becomes friendly. Desire, and then we have a suffix as, it becomes desirous. Then the third one is we can also derive nouns from adjective. For example, when we consider the suffix et, Then we have the adjective rapid. Yes? Which word will be formed? Rapidity. Right? Then when we have the suffix ness, then we have the adjective kind. We form which word? Kindness. If we have this suffix sin, then we have the adjective fragrant. Which word will be formed? Fragrance. Then also we can also derive verbs from adjective. For example, we have this suffix en, then we have adjective weak. Which word will be formed? Weaken. When we have eyes in the word liquid, it becomes liquidize. When you have fy in solid as the adjective, we form which verb? Solidify, right? Also, we can derive adjectives from verbs. For example, if we have the suffix able, and then we have the word wash, which adjective will be formed? Washable. If we had the word if, and then we have the verb digest, we get digestive. If we have the word satisfy, then we have the suffix tory. It becomes satisfactory. Then the last one, we can also derive verbs from nouns. For example, if we have the suffix as, then we have the noun special. It becomes specialized. Let us now see the features of bound morphemes. Morphemes, they can change the meaning or word class. For example, govern plus ment becomes government. They indicate semantic relations. Words, for example, the morpheme, you have this suffix full in hopeful does not relate to other words in the language except the free morpheme hopeful. It operates a closed circuit kind of relationship. For example, some bound morphemes like hood carefully choose their root. They do not correlate with every other word in the language. It occurs before the inflection of bound morpheme. They should co-occur. For example, teach plus the suffix er, teacher, plus, if we have teacher plus suffix s, we can teachers. That is a verb. That is a bound morpheme. A new word inflection, or thus er becomes before. Then the next thing is affixation. Affixation, the term affixation can be defined as a morphological process of attaching an element, usually called an affix, to the root or base of a word. For example, courage is the root of the word. Is the root of a word. When en is added to it, it becomes encouraged. And when ment is added to it, it becomes encouragement. Both en and mental affixes. Are we together? Are we together? But while en is a prefix, a prefix is an element added to the beginning of word, ment is a suffix, meaning it's an element that is added to the end of a word. Are we together? Thus, the structural formula of a word is prefix, base, suffix. P and S are prefix and suffix. Are we together? And then B is the base, and it is mandatory. We cannot have, for example, a word that has just prefix and suffix and there is no root, because we said that word will be ungrammatical or will be meaningless. So, B is a free morpheme that can stand on its own. Other example, and when you have this prefix and then you have comfort, which is the base, and then able, that is the suffix, becomes uncomfortable. And plus educate plus D becomes uneducated. This plus establish plus ment becomes disestablishment. So let us now look at morphemes and other grammatical units. Morpheme in relation to other grammatical units of words. Are going to see how they relate to words, group, clauses, and sentence. The first one is a word. The word and morpheme are important concept in morphology. This is because one or more morphemes make a word. The dictionary defines a word as a single unit of a language which has meaning and can either be spoken or written. It is a lexical item that becomes meaningful when used in the context and in discourse when it now has grammatical properties. It is an independent linguistic unit that has identifiable meaning and grammatical function with some emphasis on phonological shape. For example, the forms sing, sings, singing, sang, sang are all forms of a single word. Sing. Are we together? Then now, the next thing we are going to look at is group. We have now moved from word, and word we said it is a single unit of language which has meaning. Are we together? So the group is the next in rank above word. It is made up of one or more words. This is called phrase by transformational generative grammar, TGG. It is defined as a group of words that usually lacks a verb and which does not make complete sense. And to make sense, it has to be attached to another element that makes sense. The next one is clause, the unit in rank above the group. It is made up of one or more groups. It is defined as a group of words that has a verb and may or may not make sense. And its characteristics include having a subject. So a clause has a subject and it has a verb. So it's a single thought unit. It can occur in different parts of the sentence and it is named after its head word except for a relative clause. Then the last one is a sentence. It is the largest grammatical unit and it is made up of one or more clauses and it can stand on its own and it embeds all other units, has a subject and a verb which is a predicator and can be subsumed by other units and begins with a capital letter and ends with full stop. What else can it end with? Question mark or an exclamation mark. So that marks my end of presentation for topic 2. Yes.